Hey gang, I'm JC, and this is your Daily Dose for Tuesday, April 27th, 2010. Here we go again. I was supposed to play golf this afternoon, not looking like it's going to happen. Anyhow, this is a cooperative venture with Mind Active in Brentwood, and if you want to see the old episodes and archives of JC's Eye Candy, just hit the menu bar at the top of the page. We have a big expansion on this website coming in just a few days. All right, what's in the news? The president, not the current one, the old one, Bush. President Bush is releasing his book about his 8 years in the White House. It's going to be coming out in November. Yeah, that's what they say. Isn't it comedies do better in the fall? Oh! Okay. Anyhow, newspaper circulation, more bad news. Newspaper circulation down another 8.7% in just the last 6 months. If you want to learn more about that story, you can read about it online. Great business model. I'll give away your product free online. Ricky Martin, living La Vida Loca, that guy. Okay, he came out a few days ago, and now there's speculation he's going to write a book. The book will be made into a movie, and he will gross about $20 million out of the deal. Okay, I'm gay. There, you got me to say it. All right, those of you who did not think out this Eagles concert, I want to try and talk some sense into you. Still time you can sell the tickets that you bought. The Eagles are coming in. The opening act is the Dixie Chicks, and that should have told you something right there. And on some stops on this tour, one of the acts is Keith Urban. All right, now the Eagles are no longer a rock act. They sold out. You know, there's a big difference between country rock and country. And when the Eagles were country rock, that was cool. Now they're country, now it's not. Can you imagine what the crowd is going to look like? People just chewing tobacco. The Eagles there, the Dixie Chicks. I mean, try to get out of that. You will not catch me there, by the way. All right, let's do some stats on speeding tickets. This is always interesting to people because when's the last time you got nailed, right? There are 65 speeding tickets written every minute of every day in the United States. 65 written every minute of every day. Now, you start adding all that up, and it comes out to about 3,875 speeding tickets written every hour and 93,000 written every day. And that's just in Rock Hill. By the way, you're 20% more likely to get a speeding ticket if you have out-of-state plates. All right, let's follow up on the story we did yesterday, a little bit about the announcement that the station I worked for last, as well as KSHE 97.1 of The Point, in essence, having their controlling interest shifted, a sale, if you will. The company is going private. Well, a couple of things about this. I've had a day or so to think about this. And, you know, first of all, you don't start dumping salaries, cutting back on everything, stripping a radio station of its very identity unless you're up to something. And that is what I told you 6 months ago. It's what I told everybody 6 months ago. I knew something was coming. Now, last October, they canceled our show. And I still had a year and a half left on my contract, and they have to pay that. They got to pay me through next March, as a matter of fact. And people are like, I don't understand. If they were trying to cut back, how do they save money if they're still paying? Well, all you do is a little creative bookkeeping. You put it on the books for 2009, and now 2010 comes along, and a prospective buyer or somebody who's interested in merging with you or picking up some of your assets looks at it, and oh, you cut all this money. It looks like they're saving money, because you just juggle the books a little bit. And that's what you do when you're selling something these days, like a big company. You strip it of anything expensive, that drops the operations costs, and when they look at it on paper, it appears more profitable and more attractive to a buyer. Now in Chicago, there's a couple of stations that this company here in St. Louis also owns. And there's a guy there by the name of Jonathan Brandmeier, Johnny B they called him, and just a few weeks after they canceled my show, they let this guy go too, and he is arguably the most popular radio personality in market number 3, Chicago, arguably the most popular radio personality in the last 25 years, and he was let go too. Why? Because he also made a ton of money, and that's what they did with me too. And I told everybody, I told the TV stations and the newspapers and the Business Journal, and they all missed it because it was easier for them and more titillating, and I should also say more fun for them, to just do the story they wanted to do, which was, JC's fired again. They just get off on it. So that's the story you got. Well, it was bullshit then, it's bullshit now. They just took it hook, line, and sinker. They didn't even ask any questions. JC's ratings off. That was the other story that you got, because that's what the station told them. And they just bought it hook, line, and sinker. In the meantime, what they don't tell you is that there's a couple of other very prominent radio personalities in that building whose ratings are off a hell of a lot more than mine ever were. Guys just barely trying to hold on to a top 10 slot. Guys who aren't even in the top 10, but they don't make the kind of money that I make, or made, or continue to make, as the case may be. Some ratings are in a free fall in that building, but you don't hear about it because I was the one making a lot more money than anybody else. So anyhow, it's all out in the wash now, but do you think anybody at the TV stations, at the newspaper, at the Business Journal, or anybody is going to give you that story? You think anybody's going to call them up and say, hey, 6 months ago you gave us this story about JC's ratings being off, and now we see that you got this sort of merger and this acquisition type thing that just occurred, and that story you told us about JC really wasn't true. It wasn't really accurate after all, was it? Come on, but do you think anybody's going to ask those questions? Hell no. Congratulations, local media. You suck. All right, let's move on here. JC's eye candy today. We did the story yesterday. Britney Spears' father has issued an ultimatum to his daughter. He says, you can't go out of the house anymore without wearing a bra. And so she has been forbidden now to go out of the house without wearing a bra. So I don't know if she's going to adhere to this, if this thing is going to stick. All I know is we have 10 luscious photographs of Britney Spears out in public without a bra on, and all 10 of them are right below what you're looking at right now on JC's Eye Candy. Go ahead and sop that up. Tomorrow, I found the greatest phone app ever, and I will demonstrate it for you and show you what it does. Also, we're going to list the most and least stressful jobs in America. So that's coming up on tomorrow's edition of the Daily Dose. But that's it for today, Tuesday, April 27th, 2010. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.